Let's bring in Sheila Denstaedt. She's the Vice President over at the Troy Chamber of Commerce. Sheila, great to have you with us.
Thank you, Ronnie. I appreciate you having me.
So I would imagine the conversation is starting to shift a little bit with some of the businesses now that we're starting to be more focused on reopening the state of Michigan. Are they hopeful right now?
They're hopeful. They've been hopeful throughout. So yes, more hopeful now, but we talk about all the time how excited we've been from the standpoint of watching our members pivot through all of this. It was an initial shock at the beginning, and then they just adapted, and we've seen some really great things. We've seen members supporting members. We've seen members supporting the community. And now, yes, more hope through so many factors. So yeah, it's been great.
So with that, Sheila, I know that so many chambers were hoping that the governor was going to lift the restrictions on returning employees to the offices. It didn't happen. It was extended. However, we do have a new plan in place to try to return to normal. And there were some metrics set there about vaccinations. What's been the response from the business community?
From what we've heard, everybody's going to abide by what came from Lansing, and we're all just going to look to move forward as things progress. So there's still hope. We're still moving forward. Our restaurants, our businesses, our hotels are all moving forward, and we'll see what happens, hopefully sooner than later.
Fingers crossed. And I do think too, like, especially when it comes to the restaurants, there's been so much focus on restaurants, but we know this has impacted every business out there. And but here in the state of Michigan, when we start to get warmer weather and sunshine, it just makes it feel better.
Oh, in every way possible. Every one of our restaurants in Troy has some facet of outdoor dining. We've done it a few times. There's nothing better than sit outside on Big Beaver and watch the cars drive by, convertibles, everybody happy, the smiles, the warmth. So yeah, it's definitely been good that there's been a turn in the weather.
I was in Troy last week in that new, right there under Big Beaver in 75, where they, the construction is going on, but they realigned that intersection. I get so confused. I'm like, where am I going? I don't want to get back on the highway.
It's a momentary trip to Europe because you're driving on the wrong side of the road. Yes, it's great. It's open and it has alleviated traffic. So it's doing what it's supposed to do.
So one thing I think that's been great about the pandemic, and maybe you can talk a little bit more about this, is when so many of our businesses were really struggling, our elected leaders responded in different ways. Just some of the simple things of allowing curbside or opening up patios and parking lots, where outside of a pandemic, those conversations probably wouldn't have made it past stage one. Do you think these relationships that have been built over the past year will continue, and that open dialogue will continue as well?
Absolutely. We've been very excited. Oakland County stepped up. They helped a lot of the communities through some grant funding for those things, for heaters, for hand sanitizers, for the outside dining aspect. Absolutely. Our hospitality committee has received a lot of help from officials in our area. And yes, it's been a great dialogue, and it definitely helped move them forward and keep them going through all the craziness.
What's it been like for some of the businesses trying to apply for these grants and loans? It can be confusing and overwhelming.
It can be, and we are blessed as a chamber that we have a lot of our members who have helped each other out. So whenever there's been a struggle, we've been able to navigate with them, either helping them walk through the process or putting them in touch with someone who can. We've been posting our grants left and right on our website. We've been emailing them out. There's one out now for the restaurants. We're making sure that they know about that through the SBA. We're there to help. We're a conduit for them. So it's been great. And again, our members have stepped up and helped each other.
So with that, you just mentioned, Sheila, the SBA loan. We know in the past history has been the need is so much greater than the available funds. Do you anticipate that's going to be the same case under this new grant program?
Well, it's 28.6 billion. So I hope that everyone's able to apply. I wish I could give you an answer. There is definitely a need. The need outweighs the dollar, but they continue to put more dollars forward. So we can only be hopeful that that continues.
We're talking with Sheila Denstaedt. She's the vice president for the Troy Chamber of Commerce. And we should mention too, by the way, you got a promotion in the middle of this pandemic because you were director of business development. Now you're the vice president. What's it been like for you?
I officially started last week, so it really hasn't changed all that much, but it's been great. I've been very fortunate. I've been with the chamber almost 11 years. I was a chamber member before. It's a great group of people. It keeps me going. It's kept me sane during all this craziness, believe it or not.
So with that, Sheila, what advice do you give to other people in a similar situation? Like, how do you transition from one role to another? And for so many people, they're still working remotely.
It's a great question. You just keep plugging forward. I've been involved. We're a great group. We're about 5 people, so we've all had our hands in each other's, dealings. So we know what's going on. It was a very easy transition. I'm very fortunate that our vice president, our prior vice president, is still going to be there, so she can help me out when needed. So it's just leaning on people, making sure you have the right people surrounding you. You go to the right people with questions.
I was on your website and I see that you guys are doing an actual in-person event on May 11th.
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
Very excited. It's a morning coffee at the Embassy Suites in Troy. All protocols will be followed. I have to put that out there. And the feedback's been wonderful. People are very excited. It's one step closer to a bit of normalcy.
Yeah, it's so funny, because to say in person, we get so excited. Who thought we would get so excited to go have coffee with people?
Well, it is. And you find yourself when you have that opportunity to be in person, you just talk. You may not even know what you're talking about, but you're just talking because you're so excited to be in front of people.
So tell us about the business community in Troy. Do we have some new businesses opening? Because we do know, yes, despite the support from the community, some have not been able to keep their doors open.
That is true. There are a few that have closed, but yes, we've had probably 5 or 6 restaurants and or other businesses open. Oakland Orthodontics just opened recently. Clean Eats, a restaurant over on Big Beaver, just opened. We've probably had 7 or 8 ribbon cuttings within the last month. So yes, there are a lot of businesses open. We have a ribbon cutting tomorrow at Aldana's Mexican restaurant on Coolidge and Maple. So there are a lot of great things happening.
What a hard time to open a restaurant, not only because of the restrictions, but the staffing shortage that is going on right now.
Yes, that is true. A lot. It's not just in the restaurant world. Every business is finding some facet of that happening. Our hoteliers are also having issues there. But again, they're moving forward. They're looking at ways to bring people in, be it signing bonuses, be it, higher wages. They are all working towards that. We've incorporated a jobs board on our website. We're encouraging people to post jobs and to come look for jobs there too.
So what is the greatest need that you're seeing? What industry other than restaurants?
Hoteliers and most retail.
Wow. And I will say, talking about retail, I was in Somerset a few weeks ago. It was like a big old party in there. I was like, it didn't seem like people were struggling. They were definitely shopping right now.
Again, people have been pent up. There's pent up shopping aggression when you think about it. There are people who want to shop, and me being one of them. And you want to go out, and there's some great deals right now. So definitely support local. Look at your local community and a lot of the local stores. They definitely need everyone to come out.
Sheila Denstaedt with us here on the MegaCast. She's the vice president for the Troy Chamber of Commerce. Sheila, if we could shift the focus just a little bit, can I ask you about vaccines and what you're hearing from some of your business members, do they anticipate that vaccines are going to be required for some people to come back to the office? Or at this point in time, they're just recommending it?
Very honestly, we haven't discussed that very much. We haven't had the time to do that yet. I haven't heard much about it. I'm going to make some assumptions that they're going to follow whatever is set forth by Lansing, but it's not something that has come up that much for us. We've been talking more about the employment struggles and the funding struggles.
Yeah, and with that, it really such a tough time to be a business owner right now, because you're still juggling and trying to navigate so many of these different pieces of the puzzle.
Absolutely. And there are so many things to navigate. You now have business owners who, again, I go back to the restaurants, but they're now the host, they're the dishwasher, they're the cook, they're navigating so many things, trying to continue the marketing efforts to get the word out there. Hoteliers doing the same. Some of our hoteliers have worked 7 days straight, 24 hours a day, it seems like. So yeah, there's a lot of navigating. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, and we've heard so much about that word pivot throughout this pandemic. I think we would all be happy when we come out of this to not have to say pivot again for a long time.
Absolutely.
But we are still in the middle of the pandemic. How important has it been for some of your members and other businesses to really reach out and communicate and build relationships with other businesses throughout the area?
That has been key. Again, since March 6th, or was it March 16th when this started last year, networking has been huge, and finding ways to do it has been huge. And we, at one point, were putting on one networking event a week, and we found we were having 50, 60 people. A, they just wanted to see people, and B, they wanted to connect for that reason. They needed help. They needed a way to contact each other. And I think chambers throughout Oakland County found that and moved forward with different avenues and trying to be inventive with it so it didn't become stagnant or boring. So networking has remained and will remain key throughout the rest of this year into next.
So with that, Sheila, if I can ask, we hope to find silver linings throughout this crisis. What has been a silver lining for the chamber there and members of your team?
There's been a silver lining. I think it's just a lot of it. I go back to they're supporting each other. The restaurants reaching out to Beaumont to bring them food, being sites to drop out just drop items off when PPE was needed. Places they were stepping up for each other. We've had folks pivot. I use the word pivot, but they started creating PPE items, and it was a true community. And we're, again, very proud of our members for recognizing that. And it's just stepping up.
Yeah, it really is about relationships throughout the pandemic. And I know a lot of businesses too that maybe didn't have curbside have developed that, and will probably keep it post-pandemic as well, or even online ordering. And social media has really been such a vital tool throughout the pandemic, and social media can be a little bit intimidating for some older people.
We call them more seasoned professionals. Yes, but it's been great that some of our younger professionals have stepped up to help. We've seen it in networking events. Questions have come up, and you'll see someone going, oh, no, try this, do it this way, this will help you. And then they've had conversations after the events. So again, I go back to that community, that family that want to help each other and make sure everyone succeeds.
Sheila Denstaedt with us here on the MegaCast. She's the Vice President for the Troy Chamber of Commerce. Sheila, just another minute or two. Anything else maybe I didn't ask that you want to touch on that's going on over at the Chamber?
Well, we are in the hiring process right now to fill my role that we just left. So that's very exciting. So there's some new fresh faces that'll be coming out soon. And again, we're just moving forward, looking at ways to do hybrid events so that we can make sure everybody's able to attend. And Again, a lot of good things, a lot of happenings in Troy. Keep an eye on our Facebook page and our website to keep up on those, and come out and support Troy businesses.
Most definitely. And let's really hope that the huge push to support local continues past the
thank you.
pandemic as well, because we know that it's the small businesses that it's going to take them much longer to recover, and they make our communities unique. So let's hope that continues.
I see it happening. I think it will, and I agree. I agree.
Sheila, we so appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you, Ronnie. I appreciate you too.
And congratulations on the promotion.
Thank you so much.